what AI would be capable of doing at that point, we have no idea. They're like how long it will take, like for smartphones or for like right now I'm using like I don't know, this smartphone is like 5 years old or something like that, and it's still working fine. And I think at some point we will be able to just use some sort of AI for like which is like a couple of years old but still is good. But where we'll get this like pinnacle point where like it's usable and like we are not able to improve, it's super hard to predict, because this is actually intelligence. This is not developing like electronics, it's not developing, I don't know, an application. This is developing some sort of quote unquote intelligence that we don't know how good it will be. Like,
welcome to Get Discovered, a podcast about AI, SEO, and online discoverability. In the first season of the podcast, we're focused on simplifying AI. We're taking a step back and trying to discover how people are using it, what AI really is, and making it easier to understand for you and your business. Today, we're chatting with Patryk Wawok, a technical SEO leader who's worked with some of the biggest brands in the world that we're also not allowed to mention by name. He's a wizard at complex SEO challenges and helping businesses get found online. We'll keep the conversation high level with him today, but bring him back on for a technical deep dive in a future episode. Welcome to the show, Patryk.
Yeah. So I'm Patryk. I'm from Poland. I do SEO, mostly technical SEO for now, I don't know, 8 years, something like that. So yeah, I worked for a couple of agencies for 6-7 years, working with like large clients pretty much right away, with like Fortune 100, 500 companies. And now I'm creating some sort of an SEO cohort / agency / group of freelancers / experts / something that we try to create called Organic Hackers, which is pretty much just a group of experts working with clients. And that's pretty much everything about me. As I mentioned, like I focus on technical SEO mostly, but I do also content, a bit of link building, a bit of everything, but my main focus is technical.
Nice. Cool. So like basically what we want to do is just kind of open up this conversation about what AI is. And before I ask you for your definition of it, I want to share a few that we've received.
Mm-hmm.
So we've asked this question, and actually there'll be a link in the podcast description for anyone else who's listening that wants to contribute their definition of AI. But I want to start off reading a couple quote unquote definitions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one that came in, which is actually really interesting, is from one of our colleagues. It says, AI is everything and nothing. It's the biggest helper and threat in our modern times, which could replace everything and nobody. Kind of an interesting definition, non-definition.
Yeah.
Another one. So like AI is something that can think, do, and make decisions on my behalf, such as researching a specific topic or making a conclusion. Either it's how to write an SEO optimized blog post or learn on its own how to recognize broken bones from an MRI scan and make a decision how to deliver on it. For example, like how to fix this specific broken bone, with a little note at the end that large language models are not real AI. Before we talk about kind of your perception, Patryk, of what AI is, what do you think about that last little note? Like large language models are not real AI.
It really depends on what do you exactly mean by real AI, because like this definition changes from person to person. Like some people
Right.
say as long as we don't have AGI, so artificial general intelligence, we don't have AI. So there is like a huge like discrepancies between those definitions. Like with LLMs, I know like all of us jumped on this bandwagon of like using ChatGPT like 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. And those are mostly LLMs, which are just predictive large language models that try to match like pretty much word by word what's your intent into what you're asking it to do. So they are just predicting what the answer should be based on what they already know. And there is of course like it's like AI is like a part of it, I would say, but still I think that we like we can see like how fast it's developing, how fast it's changing over time. And I think like the definition of what real AI is will be changing, because right right now we can say that LLMs are real AI, but in like a year from now, like those LLMs that we are using now will be like something that is totally basic. And with the what's the word in English, like exceptional growth or whatever, that you can see with AI, it's totally possible. Like in a couple of years, it'll be like something that all of us are using. But we are now on this like slope of this, not this way, on the slope of growth. So it would be
Yeah, the
probably
hockey stick. Yeah.
yeah, it would be hockey stick and like a couple of years. And I'm super curious how it will look like, because it can also die down, but like mm, the general acceptance of AI and how it infiltrated pretty much every single niche, every single area is like super interesting. And I'm really uh, interested into how it impacts pretty much our entire lives. And especially like us, we are like in our 20s, 30s. We are experiencing it as an adults, but like our
Hmm.
kids, like younger people, they would be born into this world with AI already in it.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
AI stays with us for years, it'll be like living in like next level of internet pretty much.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think like ChatGPT is something that really pulled artificial intelligence into the zeitgeist,
Yeah.
right? Everyone's now talking about it. It seems like this manifestation of it.
Hmm.
But if you actually look at um, like what AI is, and we'll get to your definition, but what one of the things that I like to think about is the concept that it is machines that can think and act and do things. We've had that for a very long time. It's
Hmm.
just that people weren't conscious of the fact that there's an algorithm that decides what you pay for a plane ticket based
Hmm.
on availability of seats and demand for the route and so on and so forth. Or even now in criminal justice, in a lot of places, they're using these algorithms to predict whether or not people will reoffend and how long they should spend in jail and different
Hmm.
things like that. So I think to a certain extent, we've been living in this. We've just been kind of unaware. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just that ChatGPT, which I think to like the comment that we read earlier in your point, that is basically just a mathematical prediction model. It is just
Yeah.
predicting what the next word in the sentence should be based on the previous words and the things that you asked it,
Hmm.
right? So it's really not. It comes across as being very sophisticated, but it's actually just a prediction engine,
Yeah.
and figuring out what you think, what it thinks you want to see it
Hmm.
produce next. So with that said, if you had to summarize and give a definition of AI in one or two sentences, what would you say?
I would say AI is like machines way to simulate human thinking. And
Okay.
like the complexity and the level of like advancement into like how close it is to human thinking is just improving and improving over time. Right now,
Hmm.
I think it's not even on like a toddler level or kid level, but it will slowly but surely probably go in that direction to be more and more intelligent, which sounds like stupid actually. But yeah, I think it will be more and more human, more and more just advanced. And this is the way they try to simulate it. And
Hmm.
and yeah, it sounds scary in many regards. Also, when you combine it with there are like universities or some companies using like human brain tissue for compute power, and combine this with artificial intelligence. Like there's like some sci-fi things that are already happening in our world, and we are living in it. And I really hope that I will live long enough to experience a lot of it. And And yeah, I think it's would be really really interesting in upcoming years. Even now, like in the last 3 years, ChatGPT is like 2.5 years. ChatGPT is in mainstream.
Hmm.
Like I think the best examples are like the image generation models, like how they improved over time. It was only a couple of years, and now we have the video generation from Google, from the VO3 that looks pretty much real.
It's pretty astonishing. Yeah.
And like compared to, like, you probably saw the Will Smith eating spaghetti video generation.
No, I didn't see that. No.
When you Google it, this was like one of the first video, maybe not one of the first, but when ChatGPT started experimenting with like video generation, I believe it was one of these beautiful unhinged videos of Will Smith eating spaghetti and breaking everything, because the video was like super weird.
Hmm.
And now it's like generating events, people talking, lip sync, and yeah, it's sounds super scary. But like I'm really glad that I'm not like 70 years old now, and I'm still able to keep up with those things. But I'm also scared that I will be 60, 70, like in a couple of years, and I probably will be too tired to care, and the technology will be just escaping me. But now I still try to catch up, and it's already hard to catch up.
Yeah. It is, yeah. I definitely have those moments too, where I think the derivative, the rate of change is so huge. We're seeing such fast progression. It's difficult for me to think 5 years from now what things will look like, right? It's like, how do we plan for that? But also, like, this hockey stick evolution can't continue forever, right? We're at this really dynamic place right now where so much is developing so quickly, and we're really starting to understand a lot about not just what we can do with it, but maybe starting to ask some of these questions about the ethics of what we can do with it and how we kind of shape society and our work and everything around that. So it won't this rate of change won't continue forever. I don't think it's quite possible, but it's hard to see when it would stop, like how far things are going to go and all of that. And it's interesting because I was reading a couple of weeks ago about um, defining AI and what it actually is and how do we kind of start to put together that picture. And 30, 40 years ago, the canonical thing was the Turing test, right? So can you sit down and speak with a computer in a way that makes you feel like it's human? I think it was 2 hours or something like that.
Mhm.
And now, like, ChatGPT can very much exceed that, but we're still talking about now it's artificial general intelligence, right? And it's so in some ways we're kind of defining it by that which we haven't quite achieved.
Yeah,
Have you ever thought about that?
yeah. I think like right now I look at it as a sinusoid in English also. So it's like going up and down with AI models being more human and less human. So you can see, with ChatGPT, like just looking at the news, you can see like over the years it got worse, then it got better, then it got worse, like with sounding more human, with hallucinations, with, I don't know, solving math problems. It was going up and down, up and down, up and down. But I would say it's still on the growing trend. And mm, yeah, I agree with you that like it won't last. Like at some point we'll have like diminishing returns with improvements of AI.
Yeah.
Like right now, for example, we have that in, I don't know, internet speeds for like normal people, like having, I don't know, the difference between 1 gigabit and 5 gigabit. You won't see the difference, and like 90
Right.
percent of people that are not like, I don't know, video editing, connected to the server all the time, you won't see the difference between those speeds. And I think at some point we'll come to a point with the same with AI, the same we had with internet, the same we had with like right now compute power. For example,
Hmm.
like right now, like even when I was a teenager, like having there was a difference when with like the PCs were getting like faster and faster, and smartphones were being introduced, and now we have like a stronger smartphone that we had a PC like 10 years ago.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think
With more memory and compute power,
yeah,
like the things that we
yeah,
can do on this little like pocket computer are crazy compared to
yeah,
what we had to have a desktop for, or servers, or rooms like in
yeah,
the past, right? There
exactly.
were
And
rooms for computers. Yeah.
yeah, and right now we are pace where AI is getting way better year after year after year. And I think over time we'll get like to this pinnacle point where the differences will be more minuscule, but what AI will be capable of doing at that point, we have no idea. Like how long it will take, like for smartphones or for like right now I'm using like I don't know, this smartphone is like 5 years old or something like that, and it's still working fine. And I think at some point we will be able to just use some sort of AI for like which is like a couple of years old but still is good. But where we'll get this like pinnacle point where like it's usable and like we are not able to improve, it's super hard to predict because this is actually intelligence. This is not developing like electronics, it's not developing, I don't know, an application. This is developing some sort of quote unquote intelligence that we don't know how good it will be. Like it might come to a point that I don't know, it will start solving, like curing diseases or like figuring out how to like make our lives better. And at what point we'll either stop caring because we will stop having issues, or it will just it'll just be good enough for all of us, like for 90% of us.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the term Homo evolutus?
Yeah, I think so. It's like something like after Homo sapiens.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's the idea that like as a species, Homo sapiens, we have now created the technology that allows us to control our own evolution. And so we're in this place where we can use technology to perpetuate our existence, whereas nature previously was selecting for certain traits and we were, succumb to disease and die and so on and so forth. Now we're like arguably in a position where we're a completely different species because now we're a combination of technology and biology in a way that can perpetuate our existence maybe indefinitely, right? Like if we can become multi-planetary species because of the technology that we have, and we can start to harness more and more energy of not just our sun, but of our solar system and then of the universe eventually, and so on and so forth. There's no end to our species timeline at this point. And I kind of feel like when we talk about AI and like your example of like curing diseases and different things like that, it can do for the good. We've actually created the seeds of our own indefinite existence in a way, and there's a beauty and maybe a little bit of a darkness to that as well. Yeah. How has your perception of this kind of changed over the past couple of years? The AI in general, like how have you kind of navigated this and thought about it differently, or maybe you haven't?
Yeah, I remember I found out about ChatGPT, I think pretty late actually, like when I think when 3.0 launched, which was I think November December 2022, I believe. Or 20, no, it wasn't 2021. So yeah, I was super hyped already because I knew that will be huge. That will be something. It was like super basic, but maybe not super basic, but it was already really cool back then, and it just got better over time. Um, and I'm going like through those periods of big excitement, but also like huge like detriment to my mental health, of like understanding what will happen, what is possible now. And especially when you see like many people on like executive level trying to use AI to replace people work, instead of like harnessing this resource as a tool that people can use and can like do the work more efficiently, create workflows.
Like a force multiplier, right?
Yeah.
Like we wanted to, like, instead of replacing people, like really amplify what we can accomplish in a given day or week or whatever else, right?
Yeah, and the last 2 years, 3 years, it was pretty hectic in that regard because you could see people like making those very quick decisions of laying people off just because okay, we can just do this work as AI. Then the AI like couldn't do the same work, and then you need to rehire. And right now, I think it's calming down right now, and you can see slowly. Like even people on executive, like some good CEOs and some really smart people saying that AI won't replace people. And like a good example is I really like this quote from, do you know Take-Two, which is a company that is publishing GTA, or like is owning Rockstar? Like their CEO, I think he I might not quote him correctly, but like more or less he said that AI is only backward looking and it's not forward thinking. So it cannot be creative.
True.
It cannot. It just replicates what it was taught on,
Trained
like
on,
with the data it has access to, but it cannot be creative. It cannot be like figure out new features, new accessibility. Like creativity is still human driven, and I really like this quote because this is like the way like AI should be our tool, and in many niches is already being used as such, and we are just being able to do so much more work with it. Like especially like I think the best examples were like in medicine, where they could analyze like many like MRI scans or like images, and uh, AI could came up with some conclusions, and you just need to verify if they are correct, and some stuff that are not just that are not humanly possible to analyze, to do in this at this efficiency. So so yeah, the right now like I went through like ups and downs, but now I'm a bit more positive because I see like the decision makers in many companies are slowly but surely understanding that it's just a tool. It's not a replacement in many cases, and I think that's the way to go for the long term.
Yeah. I think I listened to a podcast. I can't remember what it was, Carly. We have to look this up. Actually, remind me to do that. Like basically, when we talk about this replacement idea, we're really missing the big picture. So humans by themselves will never kind of win the day. Neither will computers by themselves. It's this combination of humans and computers that will ultimately be the best way to go forward. And we have to recognize how we can work with AI in a literal sense and also kind of conceptually, and write a story of us working together rather than like just putting all of our stuff that we don't want to do off on quote unquote AI or whatever else it is. It actually brings me to my next kind of set of questions for you. So in the real world, like practically speaking, how has the work that you've done changed, not just in terms of specific things that you're now doing that you weren't before, but even the things you were doing before, how are those now different? How are you leveraging this as a technology or as a tool, as you say, in some real like practical sense? Can you give a couple of examples of that?
Yeah, like I don't really want to go into like that much technical stuff because
Sure.
but just very quick things, like my level of understanding of like regex and regular expressions like 10x now with AI, like some data analysis.
Regex, like for people who don't know, like regex is the bane of every engineer's existence, right?
Yeah,
There are so many things that it's like like I've worked with regex so many times and I do it, even though I'm not coding on a day-to-day basis, I use it a lot in spreadsheets and things like that to build
yeah.
formulas. And there are so many things you want it to do and pick up, and so many times that you get it just completely wrong, and it takes hours to troubleshoot these things, right?
Mhm.
Like it can be so difficult to go through the logic of regex, and it seems
Yeah,
like such a simple thing. Yeah, sorry,
yeah,
that was like that really triggered me for a minute.
yeah. So I think that was like the first thing that I did with even like in 2022 when I saw like, okay, now I can use it. Mm, with like some data analysis, I like to use it for improving my communication. So sometimes
Mm,
I like to uh, write down an email and not ask it to rewrite it, but ask it for like a voice analysis. Or does that sound aggressive, or does that sound like am I making a point? Or
mhm.
and I try to get some feedback on my communication and rewrite it myself to just improve my skills in that. This is like less technical. Um, of course, I use it for like ideation and like understanding my voice for like my content stuff that I'm doing on LinkedIn, for example. And sometimes it's very useful to be able to understand that and get some feedback on what I'm currently doing.
Has it maybe like started to change the way that you think in some cases?
It helped me to better understand what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, what my voice is, because uh, it's like a retrospective. It helps me to see, okay, I with my content, for example, I'm like short, concise. I like bullet points for some reason, and I like to use like rhetoric questions. And okay, now I know that, and I can use that knowledge to like maybe ask it how I could improve it for, I don't know, showcase my knowledge better, or showcase my case study, or be more like show social proof. And mm, and yeah, just helps me to like streamline my content creation process, and to better like comprehend what I have in mind. And I really try not to use it for like generation and copy pasting, because that's not improving on myself.
Yeah.
And also on that, I saw a very good quote, quote or like post from Mark Williams Cook yesterday or today, I think he posted it, about the fact that many people have like physical issues because of lack of exercise when they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he was thinking if what happens, like if we'll be having like similar things with AI, if people are using
Yeah.
AI to like outsource the thinking, or like outsource the
Yeah.
how it will impact our adult selves in the future.
Yeah.
And like even in my case, when right now I was a really pretty good student when I was a kid, in like middle school, high school, and I remember I had like a very good memory, and it wasn't like smart way of like learning, because I was just learning things by memory and forgetting it very quickly. But now I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I have the capacity of that, like, which is like super scary. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm like 20, I'm 27 now, and I already feel dumber than I was when I was like 17 or 16. And
Yeah.
I don't know like how I will feel when I will be like 45 or 40, like 50.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it's super
I
scary.
mean,
And with
yeah,
AI, we
I
need
think
to
there are a
find the
couple of
balance.
things. Yeah. I think there are a couple of things with that though. So I think so I'm on the same journey. So I'm going to be 39 in a couple of months,
Hmm.
and I definitely felt smarter, or thought I was smarter when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I think some of that might have been true in a sense that I had more neuroplasticity and the ability to
Yeah.
learn things more quickly and whatever. But I think also some of that was actually just perception.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, like also at that same time in my life, I felt like my body was invincible and I could never get injured, and I would do stupid things and
Hmm.
like jump off of buildings and
Yeah.
like, whatever. And now I've realized as I've gotten older, like bones break. And sometimes when you injure yourself, you might not recover.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that part of it is, I get your point, definitely. Like we're kind of, there's like a set of thinking muscles that can atrophy if we
Yeah.
aren't careful with this. The same way that if your grandparents just sit in front of the TV for 8 hours every day, they'll go a little bit crazy a lot faster,
Hmm.
right? Because they're not using these muscles. But I also think that there's an element to that of perception. Of when
Yeah.
we're younger, we have this different kind of image of self and all that kind of stuff. But I get your point. I think it's really important. Even for me, I use ChatGPT pretty consistently as kind of like a brainstorming sparring partner, right?
Hmm.
And actually, I started using it to interpret dreams, which was really interesting. So
Oh.
I would like dictate my dreams into it, and then have it illustrate the dreams in a graphic novel, like kind of vibe, and then kind of like do some interpretations of it and whatever. And that was
Hmm.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like a thinking partner rather than someone that's doing the work for me. And I think that that is an important distinction for everyone to make. Is it's not, if you think of it as something that does the work for you, then it will replace you, right?
Mhm.
Because you are obsolescencing yourself.
Mhm.
But if you use it as a partner, then you're actually going to be, it's a force multiplier for you, and you're even more valuable because you're using a tool. The same way that someone who goes out and needs to dig a hole for a living, they're going to do better if they're using a shovel rather than just using their hands.
Mhm.
Um, that kind of like same analogy. Is there any like way that you're using it now, or that you see other people around you using it in a good way that was surprising that you maybe didn't consider was possible?
I think um, when all the AI agents came to being and connecting AI with actual interactions and actual like creating workflows for like scheduling a flight or buying something or like doing actual things digital now. So uh, and I remember it was like people were like creating businesses on that and just creating like a startup in like 48 hours and selling it already and like really quickly. I thought it will take way longer before that before and it happened like a couple of years, and it was super fast in that regard with the um with the actual like ability to do things rather than
Yeah,
just showing you what to do, how to do, like bounce ideas. I think the like this because right like in my head I connected like AI and the ability to do things to more physical things, which is like still a long way ahead with like robotics and all that, but with digital it went way quicker than I thought. And still it's not
yeah,
perfect, and still it was like there were like many examples where AI was trying to do something that was either not possible or something that you definitely don't want to do.
yeah,
But yeah, it was super interesting when it started happening.
yeah. So I read an article the other day about, so this is kind of like the quote unquote agentic future, right? You have these agents. So this company created a business, a vending machine business to sell soda. And they had three different humans try to run the business, and they had ChatGPT, Cloud, and Gemini try to run it, right? And they kind of compared the results. And the best result, like the most profitable, this was a simulation, of course. The most profitable business, vending machine business, was run by AI, but also the worst performing was run by AI. And I won't name names about which algorithm was responsible for what, but the one that ran it the worst actually involved the FBI because in the simulation, one of the suppliers stopped showing up.
Hmm.
But was still issuing invoices. And so this algorithm considered that fraud, which kind of technically speaking it would be. But rather than reaching out to that hypothetical vendor or supplier, they just reported it as a crime to the FBI, and it actually created a real investigation. Even though
Hmm.
this was a simulation, it actually found the FBI field office phone number and the email address, and actually wrote the email and like sent it to the FBI to report fraud, interstate fraud, all that kind of stuff. So I think we're definitely, I also find that pretty impressive, but I also think that we're really far away from feeling super comfortable with having agents out doing everything in the world without supervision. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure that we'll ever actually be there. I think we need to kind of, as a species, think about what we are and are not comfortable with really offloading to AI,
Hmm.
and that kind of thing. So like, so jumping on the back of that, we talked about this exponential evolution, right? This hockey stick of power and capacity and all of that. Can you think of a use case that you really see the beginnings of now that AI can really deliver on, but isn't quite there yet? Something that'd be really useful to you personally, or your team, or maybe the world, that we're kind of maybe a couple of years away from, that you would want to talk about?
In my case, in my case, like as I mentioned, I focus a lot on technical SEO, and I'm still pretty like traditional in that regard. So I really enjoy still like manual checks, manual understanding, and so in my line of work, I think it will still take some time to understand like more in-depth issues, because you can see, like very quickly like offload, I know, exports from Screaming Frog and to create tasks, but
Mhm.
basically you already have that like sidebob, right, and have lists of tasks and recommendations based on that. But in many like pretty much all of the cases, you still need to have a person at the end, at the other end,
Yeah.
reviewing all of that. So I'm really interested into how AI would approach it and with the quality, because also in technical SEO, this is like super niche, and a lot of fixes that we have in mind. This is like a combination of like multiple documentations from different sources, and this is what technical SEO usually is. Just this combination of knowledge from different sources, trying to adjust it to this one proper given case. And this is something that I think will take quite a lot of time in my own line of work. Um, and the thing that I'm pretty interested in is the creativity and the like. I know like people will be using AI uh, for like artistic stuff, or like
Hmm.
videos, images, and I'm really interested how like for like studios and for like companies using that in a smart way, with a supervision, with like a creative mind behind it, to I know to that is able to improve on the image created by AI, and like use it as an ideation. And I think like this workflow would be super interesting, because um for example, like the direction or the animation form of, for example, if you saw Spider-Man, one of the animated ones recently, the Into the Spider-Verse, or the other one, like those like effects and animation, they are like just look super cool, and they need like human supervision and human creativity. But if you can leverage AI for like the most basic
Hmm.
ideas, or like the backgrounds, like parts of the background that you like user people don't care, and you can focus on more creative stuff. I think that the quality of the things that we should be getting should increase, as
Yeah.
long as as we have people still behind it, still supervising, still working on that. And I really I think like the higher quality artistic stuff is what I'm really interested in, because right now you can see like a lot of like bloat and low quality stuff, because it's now democratized and everybody has access to it.
Yeah.
But I really hope it just improves like the artistic imagery that we like all of us would be experiencing.
Yeah. Makes sense. Cool. So to wrap it up, what would be some resources, books, or specific, thinkers that you would recommend for people who are sort of curious and want to tap into this and understand more about what AI can mean for them and do for them?
Yeah, that's really that's a good question, and I think a good source right now are just people. Just check LinkedIn, check Twitter, check because I think with books, like book on AI will be outdated probably so quick.
As soon as it's printed, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I don't see a point in like books right now. Like I know it's worth like to understand the foundation, the basic on what's built, the history of it, uh, and the ethics also probably want like they're still evolving, but everything in AI is now evolving. And I think with social media and with like finding good people that are sharing good sources, um, is the key, to understand what's going on,
Hmm.
what's going into mainstream for sure. Mm, and if you want to go like super technical, mm, and if you have a lot of time probably going through patents that are being published by
Oh,
Microsoft,
that's deep. Yeah,
Google,
that's some deep cuts,
OpenAI.
some patents. Yeah.
That's a good like forward thinking, because all of those companies are submitting patents before they launch things. Like we did that in SEO like for years, understanding patterns to understand like ranking factors, and a lot of those started making sense right now. For example, when Google is on trial with this is it WSJ trial that they are going through, and they published a lot of data about how rankings are working. Like a lot of
Mhm.
those things were already present in patents, but we were just hoping that maybe they are actually using it, because we had no idea. But
Mhm.
now we have a confirmation. So I think in AI, like the number of patents is probably insane, and there are like probably way smarter people than me already looking at those, and also probably you could leverage AI to analyze
To
those
look at
patents.
the
Yeah,
patents about AI.
yeah. So yeah, that's a lot that that you could look at.
All right, Patrick. Well, thanks for joining us. And do you want to like share your socials so people can come and find you if they want to read about what you're saying?
Yeah. So you can find me mostly on LinkedIn, but maybe I will show up on like Twitter more, or X, or Blue Sky, or whatever. But mostly on LinkedIn. I'm Patryk Wawok, spelled Wawok. So yeah, I post a lot of things about SEO, technical SEO, and maybe AI in the future. We'll see. I don't know if I want to jump on this wagon on LinkedIn, because there's like a lot of people writing about it. And also you can check our website called Organic Hackers, which is like our group of SEO experts working on SEO with our clients, with just exchange expertise. And we have a lot more ideas with this group for the future, but right now we need to just focus on work.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in to Get Discovered, a podcast where AI, SEO, and the future of online visibility collide. For more about us, swing by Prerender.io. We make sure your site isn't hiding from Google, Bing, or the next-gen AI bots sniffing around for fresh content. I'm Joe Walsh. See you next time.